Welcome back to our podcast. We are now the We Bombastic Few, the Bombastic Podcast's older brother, because someone else wanted to keep the name the Bombastic Podcast. We'll get a little more in detail about that later. First off, before we get started, I want to give a little shout out to our social media. We're still working on the Facebook and the Twitter, but we're still mainly on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. So go ahead and go like, comment, subscribe, follow the normal stuff. And Daniel, one of our own, Daniel, he neglected to subscribe and like and comment and do all those things. So even one of our own isn't supporting us.
Well, I did eventually.
Once I told him to.
Like 20 minutes ago, yeah. So even I have subscribed now.
Thank you for that. And going back to the name change, we actually were with our Instagram account. We had someone very politely and respectfully reach out and say, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast under a similar name, and I'm kind of wanting to keep it and gain legal rights of it." So he was pretty much just telling us that that's what he was doing, and he wanted us to let us know. And he was like I said, he was very respectful about it. So we decided to change ours up a little bit. And with that, we gained a podcast friend and an ally. And hopefully one day he can be featured in one of our shows. And again, you already heard their voices today, but everyone, you want to say hi?
Hello, this is Daniel again.
What up? It's your boy, Brent, the heart and soul of the podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, whatever, Brent. All right, our first segment today is a crazy event news story. And what we're going to do this time is I'm going to list off 7 of just their titles. And I'm going to have Brent and Daniel. You guys are going to be picking which ones you want me to read. And then we'll make jokes and decide how much we want to make fun of it afterwards. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. The first one is titled, "Thawed out iguanas attack a Florida man trying to eat them, crash a car."
Oh, well, first off, what's that proper grammar?
That's exactly how it's typed out.
Okay.
Don't ask questions yet.
All right.
The next one, Swiss toilets overflowed with 100K in cash.
Yeah.
All right.
After that one, Spanish police found 8,000 pounds of stolen oranges stuffed into some cars.
Some cars, of course.
Probably say people stole the wigs. Keep going.
Yeah. The next one is, cops in Scotland had a 45-minute standoff with a stuffed tiger.
Makes sense.
All right, the next one is, thieves stole a minivan with a dead body inside. That one kind of seems very shallow, but that might be interesting. The next one is, a woman receives 150 tropical fish after ordering a table on eBay.
All right. Wow.
And then the last one is,
Oh, there's one more.
a man got a letter approving unemployment benefits for his dog.
Oh, well, that's a good point. If a dog's not a service dog, it's not employed, but I don't know all the requirements for unemployment, so...
No.
And I don't know how much is shared in this article.
But technically, if dogs can be employed, they can be unemployed, so... Also, fun fact, if you didn't know, I had to know this for my job, the only 2 recognized animals for service animals by the government is a dog and a miniature horse. And so if you're tired of if you're not a dog person out there but you still need a service animal, look out for them horses because they are approved by the U.S. government.
Huh.
But
It's
all right,
interesting.
so
I'm
You want me to read through
torn
them again?
Between the first one with the iguanas, because that one just sounded wild. But
I think-
also the standoff with the stuffed tiger, because I'm starting to think there's some kind of Calvin and Hobbes stuff coming into play here.
we can address all of them. Just give a little tidbit for each one. First one, I want to really quick bring up. I don't think there's much, but the eBay one. I think that could be considered a crime if you've like sent someone fish because you are now like responsible for their life. Like, if you can't just kill the fish and you can't just let them go because if they're tropical fish, they've got specific requirements to keep them. And so, like, that person is now, like, morally obligated to take care of the fish or, like, number one, social media would tear them up if they killed the fish. But I think like that's a problem. eBay, get on your game.
Well, hold on now. Who's to say you couldn't make a table out of 150 tropical fish?
Out of their carcasses?
Not necessarily. They were alive, and they are just swimming in such a way that they are constantly forming a table.
Do you know something about water that I do not?
Nope. I have fluids next semester.
I don't know yet, but I'm sure there's a way.
It'll verify everything I'm saying right now.
Oh yeah, I bet.
100%.
All right. And let's go back to the first one. Read the title for the iguana one more time.
All right, this is exactly how it's typed out. And again, and if I didn't mention this before, these articles are brought to you by the website cracked.com. Thawed out iguanas attack a Florida man trying to eat them, crash a car.
Thawed out iguanas.
This is the only one I read a little bit into, but then I decided to search.
So based on the context, the iguanas are trying to eat the dude?
Maybe. I feel like it's...
See, it sounded to me like...
Sounds like clickbait.
Because it says thawed out iguanas.
Yeah.
So it sounds like this dude just found some frozen iguanas.
Yeah, I'm on board.
Bought them, and then they thawed on his way home.
That's exactly what I was thinking so
They
far.
tactically strangled him and took his car. But alas, they all
Iguanas
failed driving school.
don't have license. That was
So
the
they
one part of
crashed
their
his
plan.
car.
They didn't count on. Yeah.
Which one would you guys like to find out more about?
I'm still going iguanas.
Well, I mean, we can just like continue to discuss all of them.
I gotta know.
What?
I gotta know.
Okay, all right. Tell us about
Iguanas?
the iguanas. We
All
need to
right,
know.
I'm reading it now. If you live in a place that ever gets cold, you've probably seen iguanas at the zoo or in someone's apartment during a very disastrous first date. However, if you live in southern Florida, they're just everywhere, on the street, in the trees, even on your plate. In parts of Central and South America, these little monsters are considered yummy delicacies, known as chicken of the trees.
I like the Anchorman.
Chicken
2
of the
reference.
rail yard. That's a little quote from Anchorman.
Legend tells of the chicken in the canopy.
But unlike other food, you can pick from a tree, including chicken. These fellas can mess you up. The winter of 2017 to 2018 saw unusually cold weather and tropically warm places. One of these was Florida, where temperatures dropped to under 40 degrees. Bad news for the iguanas, which, like any cold-blooded reptile, become quote-unquote cold stunned at such low temperatures. During the cold snap, paralyzed iguanas would simply fall out of trees, land on roads, walkways, and even in backyards. However, from the perspective of some Floridians, I guess that's how it's pronounced, it is suddenly raining delicious frozen treats from the sky. Frozen, not dead. Of course, Florida, being Florida, one local was dumb enough to start scooping these stunned iguanas and pile them up in his car for later. However, seen as if it was so gosh darn cold outside, of course he put his heater on blast and was cruising for a lizard ... consequently thawing out dozens of iguanas as he was driving. Needless to say, it was difficult to drive a car full of pissed off reptiles, so he ended up crashing. They didn't eat him though, making them the bigger iguanas.
Wow.
End of story.
So,
That's virtually exactly what happened to my uncle. May he rest in peace.
Virtually, so it's non-virtually that it isn't.
It sounds like his story went a little differently.
Did he get eaten or?
Like I don't know. First off, article. I don't know if you should be calling him stupid, because if I were into iguanas and they were falling from the skies, like manna iguanas, I'm of course gonna pick up the manna iguanas. Now, like forgetting that they're gonna like thaw out, that's probably not a pro gamer move by.
Now, I feel like it needs to be brought up that flintlock wood must have been involved here, given that a weather phenomena resulted in food falling from the sky.
That's true.
Maybe. But first off, is by saying that you're implying that with his I forgot the name of the machine, but the way it works in the movie.
Flimniftifer.
Yes, that one, of course. I don't know how I forgot that name, but it works with just literally water. So apparently, flint lockwood can make life from water. Confirmed.
Wow. All you need is some hydrogen and oxygen molecules, and you're good to go.
That's fair. I mean, Florida's got all kinds of water around it. It's a giant peninsula.
That movie was hilarious. When they proved, air quotes, that it worked, they took apart with red for oxygen and white for hydrogen, and then they made a bacon strip on an animation. Obviously it works because using these colors for hydrogen and oxygen, you can make bacon, duh.
Because the chemical makeup of bacon looks like bacon.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It's just a bunch of oxygen bonded to a bunch of hydrogen.
That's the first thing they teach you in chem.
Yep. Can confirm.
All right, you guys interested in any other ones, or you guys got other thoughts about the first?
Let's just briefly look at the tiger one.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm gonna give my rundown of what I think happened. So two police officers, they're going along, having a great time, and then they see a tiger, and it's like, all right, hold up, set up the barricade, hide the children, put the flags down. We need get the cavalry. There's a tiger, and so they went through all the bureaucratic steps of calling for backup, forming a barricade, trying to make sure it doesn't get out, and they're staring at it, and they're like, "Hey Joe, have you seen the tiger move at all yet?" And he's like, now that you mention it, I don't think it's really blinked either." He's like, "Yeah, that's pretty weird." But and so they sat there for another 20 minutes, and then Frank comes on the scene, and he's the brave one. So he's like, "Listen, I wrestled an iguana back in Florida. I can take this tiger." And so he jumps the barricade, tackles the tiger, and then they find out it's stuffed. That's what happened according to me.
This is what my thought is what's going to happen in this story. I think that the 45 minutes come from like I said, the title is Cops in Scotland had a 45-minute standoff with a stuffed tiger. So that 45 minutes, I think this guy sees a tiger and he goes into shock for 45 minutes. That's it. And then he calls her back up. And then finally they realize it's a stuffed tiger. It wasn't really, I'm thinking it's not going to be a standoff. It's just they were in, someone got was put in some serious shock. And then he when they kind of eased out of it, kind of relaxed for a second, kind of got their thoughts together. He looked up to his side where Bill was also in shock. Was like, "How long have we been standing here?" He's like, "Oh, about 45 minutes." And that's where the title came from.
All right, Daniel.
Now, who's to say they were in a standoff against the stuffed tiger? Me personally,
They said with. It says with.
Oh, they're on the same team? Crap. I need to change my narrative.
Well, what happened is these two beat cops in Scotland, they were walking around and they see a robbery taking place. And one of them reaches into their holster. They're like, "All right, I'm all loaded up. You ready?" The other one reaches to his holster and, he left his holster in his baby daughter's crib and accidentally put her stuffed tiger on his belt. So he's like, yeah, we're totally good." But naturally, as the marksman, he had to play it off like he had a dead-eye shot on him. He just didn't want to take it. And the other guy was like, "All right, just take the shot whenever you're ready." And so that guy was holed up in the store for 45 minutes while he was being held up by a cop with a stuffed tiger.
Wow. And
you want me to read it, or do you want to stay in question?
Honestly, I think we know what happened.
One of those things.
Yeah. The listeners can choose.
Mothers
One,
and
one of those things definitely happened though.
Everyone on YouTube, comment what you think the actual outcome was. After that, now we have our advertisement for the day. And today's advertisement is for scentless cologne. Do you ever just feel like you spray too much cologne, it's too strong, it's maybe too weak? Well, all of those options or fears are put to rest when it's scentless. You no longer have to fear how strong or how weak you're smelling. Next, we have a new segment from Daniel.
So we found this website. It's called bestrandoms.com. And on it, you can pull up a random list of however many items of different categories. And we chose to pick 6 superpowers from this website. And we're going to combine them in groups of 2 and argue over how useful they are, whether that be in fights, whether that be in daily life, wherever the conversation takes us. So what we have for our 6 superpowers are self-multiplication, which is the ability to create multiple versions of yourself at once, combined with the ability to manipulate plant life. And then
Strong.
super hearing will be combined with water control, and the ability to eat anything will be combined with the ability to size shift.
And then
Now,
oh, sorry. Quick addition. For super hearing, we're gonna use their definitions because they give a definition for the power. For super hearing, their definition is the ability to hear things outside of the normal human range, and so like higher and lower frequencies, I'm guessing. And then water control is the ability to command water at your leisure. The other 2 are self-explanatory.
Okay, for the second person,
Oh, okay.
this is what I'm picturing. I don't know how many people have seen Avatar: Last Airbender, but I'm seeing Katara with the ears of Momo, the little
Yeah.
monkey in the show, the big
He's a flying
bat-like
lemur,
ears,
I think.
lemur, which is
that's right.
near monkey. But that's what I'm picturing for the second person.
What?
Super hearing and water control.
So okay, I'll be quiet.
Okay. Well, so for the second person, you have water control. I'm picturing this guy just creating a constant wave to surf everywhere around the world. Because he can command it at his leisure, he can just make the wave go really, really fast.
Sure.
So he's getting around everywhere. He's surfing. He looks really cool. Not only that, but he knows where all the dolphins are at any time because he can hear their echolocation.
Well,
So
yeah, that's a good point.
That's got to be useful
Well,
somehow.
And then
You
that's what
could
I was
start
thinking for him, because like water control, theoretically, he just makes a line of water from to different, let's just say from his ear to wherever, and water can transmit sound better, and so his powers stack really well. But I want to talk about the third guy, because third guy, he's got eat anything, the ability to consume all matter in any form, and size shifting, the ability to alter the size of your body. And so he's got some great synergy, because he can already eat anything. And so he just grows super tall, and he's I can now just eat a person because freaking this is assumed to fight.
Because he's got the metabolism for it, more or less.
Yeah, exactly. And then also it's hey, I'm pretty hungry, but the rent's low this month. All I have is 1 cookie. He shrinks himself down, and so he eats the cookie, and then he's man, I'm still hungry. And he's I can eat the wallpaper of the apartment as super tiny because I can eat anything. And so boom. Also, he can drink bleach at parties and be the talk of the party.
That's true.
So the question becomes, how fast can you digest this? So for instance, if this guy decided, not necessarily that he would, but let's say he just made himself really big and he just ate a house.
Okay.
Can he size shift back down? Will the house proportionally size down with him?
Well,
Or
it almost
die
has
if he
to.
size down after that?
Well,
The description they use is to consume, so I'm assuming that it goes away. His body completely absorbs it.
Well, yeah, but that, because you could say that with literally, it's oh man, it's the freaking like the water I just drank, if I like size up, I assume everything within you has to scale, or else like that's just he's dead pretty much.
Okay, so this guy can't be poisoned.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
can't.
If he needs, if
He
he
can't really be trapped because
if he's
he
not
can shift his size.
paralyzed, yeah. If he's not paralyzed, he'll never starve. He can't be trapped in anything because he can eat anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but like if you're kept in like a steel cage, like I'm assuming you still like your teeth aren't like super strong or whatever. So you'd need to somehow get it into your stomach in like eatable. Well, that's a good point. If he's got like let's just say a cube of titanium, is he able to chew that, or does he have to like swallow it whole?
I don't think that matters because he'll be able to grow to any size to swallow like a pill.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. Yep.
But well, so what if he's in a cage though and he tries to grow? Like, will it just pop, or will he be trapped by it?
I think that, I mean, obviously, if he's grown to an extremely size, like that becomes to an extent an unstoppable force until he grows to the size he commanded himself to grow to.
If he's
Sure,
if he's
yeah.
a if he's a fit dude and he has pretty good muscles at normal size, I mean that's gonna increase proportionally with him, won't it?
Let's give the first guy a little bit of love because he's got some decent powers. Because he's got self-multiplication and plant control, so he can give multiple copies of himself, and then he's got plant control, which is already pretty good. My main problem with him though is, can I like decrease back down to one person?
I would imagine. I feel like that's kind of implied with self multiplication.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd like to think so, but like their description doesn't say that.
Because
So what if he can't?
then that could be problematic because it's the same as there's a movie, or what's the oh crap, I'm not gonna spoil the movie, but there's a movie like this where the main character has the ability to duplicate himself, but like he can't go back down to one person, and so every time he has to just kill off his duplicate, who is an exact copy of himself, in order to keep only one copy.
Is this movie happen to be my favorite movie?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I want to make sure, because it wasn't that big of a part of the movie, but I want to make sure I was
That is part of the big reveal of the movie.
the big reveal of the movie, but it didn't have to do with like the.
Yeah, the movie itself, yeah. I won't say the movie though to spoil it. But yeah, so let's just say let's just assume for his sake that he can go back down to one person. So this
Okay.
is great because you make multiple copies of yourself. One's taking a nap, and that's the guy you're going to condense back down to. And then the other guys are like, so basically you'd make the one guy who you condense back down to, like he's gym dude, he sleeps, he takes showers, and then everyone else just like goes to work and does everything else. And
Plays
then when you
video
condense back
games
down,
and
well,
eats a
yeah.
lot of food and for pleasure and do whatever you want.
And then plant control is just dope. You get to make trees large and stuff.
Not only that, but plants have like massive destructive power. Have you ever seen trees or even little plants growing through things?
Yeah, grass is
well, that's
grown through
over time,
concrete.
but-
Buildings, grass will come up through concrete. I mean, it's intense. You could take out anything. Any human structure can be taken out with plant control.
Wait, so does he have the ability to control growth rate?
Yeah,
Or
I
is
was
it
just gonna say growth rate is a question, because if I like,
Okay.
can he throw down seeds and then make trees?
Well,
I guess
what
that
else
has
would
to
you-
be, because what
else
else
does
would you-
manipulate plant life mean?
You wouldn't be
I
able-
can
yeah,
move the tree around. Like I can change. Like I can make it go at a 90-degree angle if I want.
so you can change the way it grows.
Well, at that point I don't even think it qualifies as growing.
I think I'd say we go with grow.
Okay, yeah, I agree. We'll go with grow, and he can condense back down to one. So
With that, then like he literally can go anywhere, just like the water control. He can build any kind of structure, just with plants.
And then, are we gonna give water control dude like the derivative powers that they get in Avatar, the Last Airbender series, where
Talking
it's
about
got,
like blood bending.
yeah,
and-
like blood bending, and then like plant, because
Ice.
there's a plant control people who just do the water within trees and stuff. And so I don't think we should give him derivative powers.
I think that's
You
this.
can control the water in stuff. I think that makes sense.
Well, but then he's gonna be way too powerful because he can also do like the water within a person and just pop him.
Is the water
What's his
control?
range? What's
Is
his
the
range?
water control allowing him to produce more water? Or is it just
No,
there has to
he
be
has,
water?
He can command water at his leisure.
So
Okay.
so I'm picturing like, could you just dehydrate and rehydrate stuff at will?
In a sense, yes, but you'd be stripping it out of something in a very like brute way.
That's the question at hand, I think, because I guess you can because you can command water, and so because like theoretically, like you could go with it's a mixture, but then it's like then he can't control like seawater or almost any water because no water is like completely pure. Like he can only do water bottles. It's water bottle man. Only 100% purified water is what he can control. He has to carry around water bottles. But yeah.
Don't
so,
complain about him because he can hear you.
yeah, he's listening right now. A water bottle is heading as a ballistic missile at your head right now. I don't know. And then let's just for entertainment purposes, fight scene. I'm gonna say size shifting dude. Like he's gonna be good, but the other two, like since we've given them almost no limit in terms of their control abilities, he's gonna be dead in the water. Like pun
Okay.
intended.
So size shifting guy, let's also give him no limit on his abilities then.
So can he grow to like
if
planet size?
if you're increasing in size, then theoretically you're multiplying everything inside of you, or
Sure, yeah.
dividing molecule. So even if water control guy can control water,
Yeah.
I mean, what is that limit? If we're saying he could control all of the water in this guy's body
Yeah.
when his head is in the clouds,
Yeah.
then like that's pretty broken because he could like literally move oceans.
Yeah. We need
So-
inherent limiters on these guys, but without them, yeah, the water guy is pretty OP right now.
Is there maybe if we set a range on it or like an amount?
Let's say 20 feet or 30 feet for plant control and water control, dude. And then size shifting
Okay.
dude will need a limit.
So
let's
okay,
say-
practicality. Which one do you think would be the most practical day to day?
I'm saying superheroing water control guy because just everything has water, and you like if you carried water with you, that's basically telekinesis because you could like accomplish most tasks by just like rapidly throwing water at it.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. With that.
I got this test, man. I just gotta rapidly throw water at it. Done, easy.
So you can literally, and you have increased hearing. Like there's no really like doubt or there's no like con to having that really that I can think of.
I'm gonna have to go with size shifting. Eat anything.
for day-to-day
Not
life.
only-
Or
Yeah,
just the overall usefulness. Okay.
Yeah,
Give a
overall
rationale.
usefulness. I mean, all the things you can do with size shifting, not only recon, but
Yeah.
like you're a major force to be reckoned with, especially with the limiters we put on plant water control. And beyond the scope of battle, you can't starve. You can consume matter in any form, it says. So that means you could literally take hydrogen and oxygen out of the air and form it in
Well, I
your
mean,
body.
I can consume matter that right now.
Well,
Okay.
you're not eating it though. He can
Did
consume
we-
matter in any form.
But does he get benefits from all matter?
That's the implication, I think.
That's what I got from it is that he got nutrients from pretty much anything.
I-
Do we
I still
agree
go
that he
water
could
control.
that self multiplication can go down?
He can go back
one?
to one.
Then just for argument's sake, I'm going to say the top one is most because obviously plants are almost always around you at some point.
Yeah.
And then self multiplication, you can always get more stuff done having more of you.
But then it's like I'm gonna have the movie scene where it's like I made a copy of myself, and we're suddenly arguing. It's like because no one wants to go back to just one person. And it's like, all right, who gets to be the guy we condense back into? And it's like, well, I should be him. No, I should be him. And then I end up fighting myself with plants from Little Shop of Horrors.
Well, maybe I could just make 2 or 3 of me, and they could always be living.
Yeah. I mean, but then you gotta deal with, like, imagine having to, like, apply for stuff, though. It's like, oh, how many dependents do you have? It's like, well, do I count
Me,
myself?
and I.
Yeah. I think that's the real issue. But, and then, we're cutting it a bit close on time. And so we're going to just cut it off there. Does anyone have any final thoughts towards their prospective fighters or just people?
I think we covered enough.
I think they're all pretty practical. Yeah.
All right. So the podcast is already going a little long, but we're going to keep going because what is a podcast without a hypothetical? That's not a podcast. So, and then a quick bombastic quote, though. Every 60 seconds, a minute passes in Africa. All right. And moving on, today's hypothetical. This one, we're trying it a little different this time. I've given the hypothetical to both Daniel and Lindsay before, and so they probably formed a couple thoughts, but we didn't go super in depth, and we didn't discuss it at all. And so the hypothetical today is, instead of a life sentence for prisoners, so they have their minds erased, and there's a little clarification at that point that we can go into, because the other one option is they have their mind erased from all time, and so they're basically a baby, or they have their mind erased, like, of the events leading to their first crime. And so the question kind of is, it's like, let's say you're put in that situation where you are the criminal. Are you gonna do it, or is it ethical? We can discuss both of those.
I don't think it's ethical, I wouldn't say. Mainly because you're stripping away part of someone.
Let's just limit it to erasing their entire mind. So I'm gonna play the guy. Listen, I just got sentenced to a life sentence. So my option right now is to spend my entire life in prison. I don't want to be in prison the rest of my life. So what if I have to start life again as like a 30-year-old man? I restart life, relearn everything, and boom, I get to continue living outside of prison.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would take the out, because I mean, on the one hand, you get to be free, but on the other hand, if your entire life is erased, I mean, you're not really you on the outside. So you're not free. You're basically, you might as well be dead, because everything that has formed who you are is gone.
But you are going to be in prison the rest of your life anyway.
At least in prison, I'm me.
Yeah, but you're trapped there forever. You're never going to experience more than just within your cell.
You're never going to experience more if you don't remember anything.
Well, I will. I'll experience. In fact, I'll experience like a whole lot more, because I won't remember anything, and so everything will be new. I get to rewatch my favorite movie and rediscover that it's my favorite movie.
You don't know that.
Okay, well, I get to discover a new favorite movie. Yeah, so I get a new favorite movie.
So, but basically, you're saying someone else is going to have all these life experiences in my body.
Sure.
But it's not really going to be me.
It is still, like, this definitely goes into nature versus nurture. And it's like, fundamentally, there are still going to be some things that won't change about your character, just based on, like, how you look. And just something as simple as that changes how your life ends up, just based on how people treat you. And so it's like, you're at least at some capacity, you're going to be the same person, at least a little bit.
And I think, like, your mind's still developed in different ways. Even if your memories get erased, you're still developed in some ways. So your brain's still going to be structured different ways. It's just that there are some things that you're going to have to relearn that just amount to memory, like speaking, but instead of like being hurt by something, at least from my take of it, like, you're still always going to have that feeling of something related to whatever hurt me before. I don't know what it is, but I can't put my finger on it, but it still caused me pain before.
So
Um,
what I think it's important to define here, what does it mean to have your mind erased? Because yeah, you can make the argument in the set you're gonna have a lot of the same tendencies because of the way your brain's developed, all the different connections, different
We'll just
Yeah.
say
parts of your brain have
memories.
made,
You have no memories.
but all of that is based on your memories.
Yeah.
So
Well, but so neural
and beyond that,
pathways.
like you learned a language, but if you lost all your memories of learning that language, are you going to know that language anymore?
That well, yeah, you'd be a baby. Like, but the question is, I guess, can you? Because you develop neural pathways every time you think a thought. The neurons that were connected for that path, like for that thought to be made, that creates a stronger bond, which makes you easier and more inclined to remake that thought. So I guess the question is, granted we're going nowhere into the science of this, but if you erase the memories, do you keep the neural pathways? In which case would manifest as tendencies.
I think you keep neural pathways, and so different parts of your brain are connected, but you have no ideas or memories associated with the different parts of your brain. So you're not going to have any tendencies because your brain isn't actually connecting any ideas, just brain goo.
Yeah, brand new. I would like. I wish we could take the perfect. Let's just say like Jason Bourne example, where it's like we can speak English, we have all the like skills from our past life, we just don't remember anything. But I feel like that's almost getting too just wishy washy and like perfect scenario for this.
So, well, I mean, if we get into that, then it's like, would you be willing to be brainwashed to live free, but then you're not really living free?
I'm
You're
still am.
brainwashed. Are you brainwashed?
Well, yes, but I'm still living free. I didn't become a different person. That my physical form is still the same. So at least and I have my skills. So like I'm still a juggling sassy white man. So I think I'm still living. Boom.
I think I'd take the life sentence.
What?
personally, I would too, just because it's.
Are you
like,
kidding me? I'm not gonna
Okay.
visit you in your life sentence.
Okay,
I'm gonna be
hear me
like,
out, hear
hey,
me
you,
out.
you could have.
Personally, like if I got charged with something, I'm most likely to some extent going to agree that what I did was wrong, and I feel like I have to live out the consequences for it, whether that be a 1 year sentence, life sentence, whatever it is. I feel like I have to live that out.
Well, I could argue that the punishment made was your entire life being erased, but I'm not visiting any of you. But we have run a little bit long, and so Daniel, you want to wrap things up for us?
Yeah, just a few closing thoughts. We're still working on distributing to additional outlets, just waiting on approval for the different websites, among others, Apple and Google Podcasts, uh, along with everything else I listed last episode. Uh, excuse me. The first 3 episodes so far, we've been trying different things. Just trying to get a feel for what works for us, what we like, what feedback we've been getting, and what the viewers like. But from now on, we will be uploading on Tuesdays. So be looking forward to that. And if you have any feedback on this or anything else, the first 3 episodes, any more ideas, questions, comments, things you want to add to the conversation, let us know on our social media.
Hit us up.
We Bombastic Few. Am I correct? That's our Instagram handle now.
That is correct.
Right. Beyond that, to all our listeners, tell your friends about us. Tell people you think will be interested in our content about us, or even people you're not sure will be interested. Just let them know, and maybe they'll tell people that they think will be interested about us. And to our YouTube viewers, like, comment, subscribe. Comments, just let us know what you think. Once again, any other listening platforms, rate us with whatever's available. Are there any last thoughts, Brent, Lindsay?
So quick thing is if you're listening to this, be sure to let us know if you have something for us, because we may or may not have spent an hour trying to figure out what to talk about. And so if you have an idea, be sure to let us know, because that would really help out. And yeah, that's all I have.
So I have too, guys. Just have a bombastic night.
All right. Thank you for listening. See you next Tuesday.
You have a good one.